Alright, welcome back for round 3. I've won the die roll, and I will choose to play first. This hand's perfectly fine. It does lead into a turn 4 Singer Vampire if I draw one more land, so I'm perfectly fine. Seeing how that goes. We'll see how this mirror match goes. Could have a counter here, but I'm not really that concerned to be wasted on that. I'd be able to play out my Singer Vampire fine. Just saying if you wanted to Doom Blade it or something, I'd be fine with that too. I'm less inclined to run my Singer Vampire straight into a counter spell, though, so I will just play Undead Minotaur this turn in hopes that he taps out next turn. And here, if he wants to trade either of his creatures, or either of his creature for either of mine, I'm fine with that. It's not too surprising that he wants to save it for the Singer Vampire. I'll pause while my opponent thinks. Given the amount of mana he's left open, he could be flashing in a Seaskyte. I think right now I'm going to Time Ebb his Cockatrice. And because of the, I would say, fairly decent potential for the Seaskyte, I'm not going to attack with my Warden of Evos at this point. So here I'll play the same as I did last time, where I will just play the Singer Vampire and then attack with my two creatures. He might be a little more inclined to trade at this point, as he is getting low on life. It's also supposed to play as a counterspell, but does not appear so. I guess he could have another Disperse. I'm not terribly concerned about that. This next turn, I'd be perfectly happy to draw a land, so I'll drop Scroll Thief and keep Essence Scatter up if necessary. So here I am presented with an interesting option of I could clone the Era Servant. And I do think that might be the right choice at this point. I mean, all I have to do is tap his flyers once, and at this point he has to keep mana up. And with me now having 3 flyers on the board, it's going to be a little easier for me to pull through on this one. So we'll see what tricks he has up his sleeve next. And here I think the best card for me to draw is another land, because then I can tap both of his flyers. Well, that's unfortunate. But he can't cast anything, which is good. Unfortunately, the top card of my library was a land after all. It's really unfortunate I didn't draw a land there. So I think for right now I'm just going to play the Child of Night. I could force him to block, but I'd lose one of my flyers, which I'm not too interested in doing right now. And this lets me keep Essence Scatter open as well as the mana to tap a creature. Yeah, I'm definitely going to counter that. I just don't want him to be able to pump something like that. He can't really attack, because if I draw a land, he would then just be dead. That does make things interesting with Grim Return. So I think here it might actually be wisest for me to attack with everything. And he'll most likely block the Singer Vampire with the Death Graze, and he might trade Era Servants at that point. And if he does that, he can then eat one of my creatures, and I gotta do 4 damage. With Grim Return, I should be able to put myself in a position to be fairly dominant at that point, I would assume. Another option is for me to play Mark of the Vampire on my Undead Minotaur, and at that point he pretty much has to trade with the Cockatrice, and I 2-for-1 myself, but he does lose that. And I think that's actually the best, because that'll set me up for the best turn next turn, where I can Grim Return something as necessary, and still being quite the position, I feel like. It's also possible he lets this 4 damage through, but that seems... That would be surprising to me. He could also have Disperse. Doomblade would be a dead draw here as... or dead card because it's a black creature. And my guess is at this point he's trying to decide if he wants to block with the Cockatrice or not. He can't tap it with the Air Servant, so it's going to be a problem for him again next turn. Okay, there's that, I guess. Once again, I still think the best draw I have is a land. That's really annoying. Interestingly, he actually would have had a chance to attack there, but he decided not to take it. I really need the land there, so him doing that is very annoying. It does allow him to actually play out the Corpse Hauler, though. As if he hadn't done that, he'd tap too much mana and not be in a really good position at that point. I think that's the fairly obvious play. If I were to even target the Corpse Hauler, you'd sacrifice it in response. And I don't have anything I'd want to get back anyway. This does put him into an interesting bind in a sense. We'll see where he goes from here. I'm guessing he doesn't have some kind of counterspell for that, as if he did, he would have, I assume he would have used it there, as that domestication is pretty backbreaking, which means I don't have as much worry about my Grim Return being canceled, or countered in any form, if it comes to that. It's an interesting choice that he would tap that one, as I can't attack with it this turn. And that explains why he tapped that one. This definitely does give him clearance to attack, get a couple swings in. But even then, I'm not entirely sure, as I'll be able to attack with the Warden and the Child to get some stuff through there. I still hold that my best draw at this point is, without a doubt, land of some kind. I feel if I can just draw a land, I'll be able to tap 2 creatures and more than likely not have much problem winning at that point. Yeah, I mean, if I draw a land here, he's just dead. He's actually just dead anyway. Or no, because there's one on top. So he's not just dead off of that, unfortunately. Now here, my Liturgy of Blood is my main out. I can't even really think of anything else that would be that useful at this point. I mean, it seems without a question that he will exile my Heir Servant. My Grim Return may be enough here to make sure I win, as he has to block the Singer Vampire. Or actually, he can just tap, can't he? That's really unfortunate. Unfortunately, that puts me in a position where I'm really... If I don't draw Liturgy of Blood, I'm just dead. And there's pretty much nothing I can do about it, as he has plenty of mana to do whatever he wants. He draws one more land, he can tap all three of the creatures I have. Essentially, if I don't draw the Liturgy of Blood, I'm just dead in the water. Unfortunately, I need I need another mana to be able to Liturgy of Blood and Grim Return, because it's not likely he'll do it while I still have 3 mana in the pool. Assuming he knows what he's doing, I'm just dead this next turn anyway, so... That was a very lucky top deck for him in this grindy battle. And here I'm just attacking for the extra 2 life. Very interesting that he would choose the Corpse Hauler. He's going to sacrifice it to get his Nightwing back, I'm guessing. Or not even that. Yeah, I mean, as long as he attacks everything, I'm just dead. So, I mean, I guess I could see why he wouldn't want to attack anything, because if I had a Doomblade, it would, it would effectively kill him. But I mean, it's going to kill him no matter what. Even if I have a Doomblade at this point, he's dead. So really, there's no reason for him not to attack with everything. Because it gives me another chance to draw Liturgy of Blood, which I did not get. I mean, we'll see if he decides not to attack again. If he doesn't, then I have one more chance. At the very least, I have learned very specifically what spell I absolutely have to counter. As well as finding a very good clone target. Alright, well, at this point I know what I have to get around is I have to bring in a cancel. There's not much question there. That's not going to be helpful. Given his deck, Tenacious Dead is probably the weakest card, as it just really is going to do nothing. I'll play first. He wasn't attacking enough to do anything, so here I'll keep this and we will see what happens. Unless there's a strong reason to counter something, I'm probably going to wait until Jace's Mindseeker or Colossal Whale to counter. We will see what we end up with. Here I'm going to play my Scroll Thief, as if he doesn't have a play, I get to draw cards. Unless he has a counter for it, but I didn't see him play any counters. This is getting annoying that I have not yet drawn. A swamp, as I will obviously need them at some point or another. Well, that will definitely make the race go quickly in his favor. Especially when I draw blanks. That's very helpful. I have any number of spells that would allow me to pull back in this game, so let's hope I draw one of them. At this point, I'm behind enough that I'm going to S-scanner that. That also lets me make sure I can get with my Scroll Thief for another draw, as that's going to definitely be the most crucial thing, is having to draw my way out of this setup that he has going there. I think the correct play here is actually to play the Archaeomancer, as that gets back to Essence Scatter, which gives me another... If he plays a creature, it gives me another draw. Which is very clearly what I need at this point. that makes things even more difficult. I mean, I'm still in the position where I have two draw steps, essentially, to find something as an answer. And my deck so far has not been cooperative. That is a very acceptable answer, assuming he does not have a counter spell for it. It's not the best answer at the moment, but it is better than nothing. That's an interesting choice. And then since I'm blockable, I have to counter him. I don't really have an option. Judging by my opponent's response, he forgot that I took that back. So there's my own my own Mark of the Vampire, which I'm happy to see. What is an option for me, especially depending on what he plays, is that I can sacrifice the Archaeomancer to get back either the Time Imp or the Essence Scatter. If I Grim Return it. So I do have some play left, and my opponent is very behind on the board. We'll see what he plays here. So there is some reason to think that playing Mark of the Vampire on my Scroll Thief is the best choice here, as I will not let him block it. If I attack with everything, the main concern is if he has a second Disperse. Even if he does, I still have the Vampire Warlord, although I don't have enough mana to do Grim Return, Mark of the Vampire, and play Time Imp at the same time. So I don't think I can attack with the Warlord. I can attack with everything else, though. So we will give that a try. My opponent seems to be thinking what to do here, which makes me worry. Unfortunately, I think that is game. Well, thank you for watching.